Hey, it's David with KCM, and I wanted to come on for just a minute and talk about a blog we just wrote that I think covers one of the most important topics in today's market, and that is the fear of, a bubble in housing. We wrote a blog post, the 3 graphs that prove this isn't a housing bubble or housing crisis. And I want you to go in and read it, but I want to explain what we did in the blog first so that you can read it, understand it, and then share it with those that are asking this question. We cover 3 points and give you 3 visuals in the blog. The first one is the number of homes on the market. The fact of today's market across the country, even though we're seeing, the market kind of transition from the frenzy of the last 2 years, we're still in a seller's market. We give you the national number. I would encourage you to go in and grab your local number out of your MLS and say, where are you at? But there still are not enough homes on the market for the number of people that want to buy them. Matter of fact, if something's priced right in today's market, it's selling extremely quickly, but we're just not in the frenzy that we saw in the last couple of years. That's the first point. The second point, this is a big point that you have to reiterate with people, and that's lending standards. We look at the Mortgage Credit Availability Index every month that's put out, and that really measures how much credit is available to people through the mortgage process. Well, back in 2008, we used to always joke it was easier not to get a mortgage than to get a mortgage. And we know back then all the products that were in the market, what they would call a ninja loan at the time, no job, no income, no verification. And we're not in that market today. Those products aren't around. And if you look at that graphic, the higher it is, the easier it is to get a loan in this country. And what happened after the housing crisis? That shot down. There was sort of this pendulum swing in mortgage lending, and it got a lot harder to get a loan. Certainly if you were self-employed, it got extremely hard to get a loan. And we haven't gone back to where we were, and that's a good thing. But you can look at the Mortgage Credit Availability Index and show your customers this is why today is very different than 2008. So that's the second point. The third point, what does this lead to? This leads to a look at foreclosures, and we cover foreclosures in this blog and give you a look going back many years. And what do I know? Ever since 2011, the number of foreclosures in this country has dropped each year and been extremely low the last 2 years. And I know those were anomaly years when there was a moratorium on foreclosures during COVID. But what happens when you have a better qualified borrower? You have less foreclosures. Now, we know the silver lining of the pandemic and housing was equity for people. People had the equity there they didn't have in 2008. And so you see that if somebody were in a situation, they now have an option. Back in the housing crisis, they didn't have an option. So go in and read this blog. You'll understand those 3 points of inventory, mortgage credit availability, and foreclosures to help explain why this isn't a housing crisis.